Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with a real chord guy does the planets, which is a real chord piece, but it's not the best recording of the planets. Nonetheless, it's kind of a classic. It's Bernard Herrmann with the London Philharmonic. This was an old DECCA Phase 4 recording. He made a few recordings for Phase 4. He did an Ives 2. For some reason, the Herrmann legacy has not been issued on Phase 4 separately. I don't know why, and it wasn't in the Bernard Herrmann box of all of his other stuff. They should have just done everything and put it all together, but why should they, think? I mean, that would be far, far too simple, wouldn't it? Anyway, Herrmann wanted desperately to be a conductor. I mean, that was where he thought his genius was. But what he thought and what was reality were two different things. Bernard Herrmann was famous for being just an angry, cantankerous, difficult guy. And he really was. I mean, really, really wonderfully so. Often as not. As a conductor, he did everything slowly. I mean, really slowly, quite frequently. I mean, he was not... Sometimes things were sort of up to tempo, but largely, at least as far as his recordings go, he tended to prefer slow tempos. And this is no exception. It's the slowest planets on record. I mean, you've got Venus is over 10 minutes. 10 minutes. In fact, I mean, we can compare like Adrian Bolt or one of those people. I've got him all sitting around here, but Bolt gets through it 6. I mean, he's got 8 minutes for Neptune. 6 is also sort of normal there, although Stokowski was up to 8 minutes or something. They're just slow. I mean, Jupiter, you hear things, though, because they're so slow, because Herrmann was a chord guy. In other words, he was interested in vertical sonority. He was interested in atmosphere. That's what his own music does, right? I mean, the very opening of Mars, very steady. Da-da-da-dum, bum, 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 da-da-da-dum, da. Haydn did the same thing, by the way, actually. But, when you hear the opening, da, 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 there's a soft crescendo on the tam-tam behind it. And, you hear it. You really, really hear it. And the climax of Mars, where the organ comes in, and it's it's terrifying. You've never heard the organ as clearly as you do at that moment. There is an organ in Mars, believe it or not. And you often don't hear it at all. You never know. Well, with Herrmann, you hear it. You hear the pedals. That's the kind of sound he made at The Day the Earth Stood Still, which has organ pedals doing exactly the same thing. So it's wonderful in its way. But next you get Venus, and it lasts forever. Mercury is wonderfully clear. It usually flits by in 3 minutes and a bit. Well, here it's over 4, I think, something like that. 4:30. Da 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 do 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 do. You just get that. You hear the triplets really, really vividly. Jupiter. The opening of Jupiter is usually just some sort of you hear this. Well, I mean, since I played the piece a few times and played the glockenspiel part, which is percussion, it's da 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 da. That's the opening. Well, you hear it. You really hear the rhythm. Saturn, the bringer of old age, he doesn't take too slowly. Which is, thank God. I mean, that actually has a nice rhythm. But Uranus, the magician, oy, 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 oy. Da 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 dum ba da 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 dum. The underlying rhythm, ba da dum ba 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 da dum ba 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 da dum ba 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 ba, like that. Like I said, you'll hear textural things you don't get anywhere else. Although the organ glissando there isn't so well caught at the climax there, it could have more. But Neptune is just wonderful. It's spooky and spacey, and it does all the things you want it to do. It's beautifully atmospheric. There are moments that are extraordinary. Absolutely extraordinary. But on the whole, it's just too damn slow. It really is. A fascinating, fascinating example of what happens when you have a guy who is completely obsessed with color and atmosphere to the exclusion of other qualities like overall shaping and the long line and this was true of a lot of his conducting. It was. He didn't do everything at half tempo. He really didn't, but a lot was notably slow and notably colorful. So this recording, which was it's on quartet DECCA it's some sort of special issue thing. I have no idea. It's on Quartet Records. That's the label that licensed it. I gather it's a license of some sort, or part of Universal, but it really is fascinating. Absolutely fascinating to hear this great film music composer spend 57 minutes and 6 seconds wallowing in this extraordinary essay in orchestral color. That's what chord guys do. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.